skeleton. So this is the clavicle, and in the clavicle this end, which is more flat, is the sternal end, and this end, which is more curved, is the acromial end. So this bone is the clavicle, and clavicle is a S-shaped bone. Sternal end, acromial end. Acromial end articulates with the acromion process of scapula. Now, scapula. Scapula has a scapular spine. At the end of the scapular spine, we have acromion process. So above the spine, this fossa is supraspinatus fossa, means superior to the spine. The fossa below the spine is the infraspinatus fossa, means it is below the scapular spine. This is the medial side of the scapula. This shallow groove here is the glenoid cavity, and the head of the humerus articulates in the glenoid cavity. So this one was the acromion process. On the other side, this process is the coracoid process. On this side, this whole area is like this whole shallow depression is known as subscapular fossa. So again, spine of the scapula, acromion process, supraspinatus fossa, infraspinatus fossa, glenoid cavity, coracoid process, and the subscapular fossa. So this was the scapula, and now we will start humerus. So this is the humerus, and humerus articulates with the glenoid cavity of scapula and forms the glenohumeral joint. Here is the head of the humerus, which is round like a ball. This narrow part here is known as anatomical neck, this narrow part. Then we have the greater tubercle and the lesser tubercle. So when we look at this side, on the anterior side, here is the greater tubercle and here is the lesser tubercle. Lesser tubercle is towards the head and greater tubercle towards the lateral side. Head is always on the medial side. This shallow groove here between the lesser tubercle and the greater tubercle is known as intertubercular groove. This ridge here, like prominent ridge here, is known as deltoid tuberosity. So the deltoid muscle attaches here on the deltoid tuberosity. Now we will go all the way down. So this is the head. Now we go all the way down towards the head. This is the medial epicondyle. So towards the head we go down, that is the medial epicondyle. On the lateral side we go down. Here is the lateral epicondyle. Then we have this is, which is more smooth, is the capitulum, and this part is known as trochlea. And this round, more smooth part is known as capitulum. So this is the anterior side. If we look at the posterior side, this deep fossa we see, this is the olecranon fossa. and olecranon fossa where the ulna olecranon will articulate here and forms the elbow joint. So that is the humerus. Now we will cover radius. So this bone here is the radius, and the radius, the head, we see the head, this round head is the considered head of the radius. Now we see like kind of bump here. This bump is radial tuberosity, and the bump is for the muscle attachment. If we go all the way down and we see here like a spiny, that is the styloid process, this one. Styloid process, when we go down and we go down towards the radial tuberosity at the distal end, this is the ulnar notch where at the distal end of radius ulna will articulate. So head of the radius, radial tuberosity, styloid process, ulnar notch. The radius we can easily identify by looking the round disc-shaped head and the radial tuberosity. Now we will cover ulna. Ulna is longer than the radius. Ulna can be easily identified by looking at this trochlear notch, which is like a monkey bar. This one, like monkey. So that is the trochlear notch. So in the ulna we need to know olecranon process, coronoid process. So olecranon process, coronoid process, and this is the trochlear notch. Now, in the ulna when we go down, here, this spine is the styloid process, and here we have the radial notch where the radius will articulate with the ulna. So this is the radial notch. So again, olecranon process, coronoid process, trochlear notch, radial notch, styloid process. So that was ulna. So now we are done with these bones. The last one we have this one. So in the lab practical, we will not have these two, but we will have this hand separate. So in this hand, if you see, first of all, these are the palm bones. So they are known as metacarpals. And this is the thumb. So from the thumb, below the thumb, this is considered metacarpal 1, metacarpal 2, metacarpal 3, metacarpal 4, and metacarpal 5, which is towards the pinky finger. So we are like that. Now, those are the metacarpals, and then these are the phalanges. And in the phalanges, we have the digit. For example, in the thumb, we have the proximal digit and the distal digit, no medial digit. Here, proximal, medial, and distal. Proximal, medial, distal, like that. Now, these are the carpal bones. And in the carpal bones, we start actually with scaphoid. So this one actually is the scaphoid, the first one here. Then this one is the trapezoid or trapezium. So trapezoid, trapezium, and then we have lunate, capitate, triquetrum, pisiform, and hamate. So they are like that. We start with the scaphoid, trapezium, trapezoid, Then we have lunate, hamate, triquetrum, pisiform, and hamate. This is the capitate. This one is the capitate. Above the lunate, we have the capitate, and towards the pinky finger, these two bones are joined together, triquetrum and the lunate, and then this is hamate. So now we are done with it, and so you can stop now, and let me confirm that. Okay, so trapezium and trapezoid. So when I was saying this is the scaphoid, this one towards the thumb was the trapezium, and the second was trapezoid. Trapezium, trapezoid. Like this, these are confusing. Trapezium, trapezoid, but this one is okay, like scaphoid. Then lunate and capitate, triquetrum, pisiform, like this is small one, pisiform, and this one is the hamate. So now we are done with the recording.